Recording. And we are live, episode 30 of the RINO podcast. Myself, Jeff Simone, and Caitlin at the Factual Prep with you Sunday morning. Hope your Sunday morning is going well, even despite this week. And the sad news coming out of Afghanistan and Kabul. Caitlin, I'm just going to hand it over to you.
I think, Jeff, you and I need to start off with a remembrance of Sergeant Janey Rosario out of Lawrence, Massachusetts, who bravely gave her life to protect the children and people in Afghanistan. Thank you for your service. We greatly appreciate it.
I thought I saw a clip somewhere. Somebody said, there was a few days before or prior to, obviously, her passing and being killed, she was quoted as saying, "I love my job," right?
No, that was
sorry.
Yeah, but yes. Yeah. The Marines that were killed in Afghanistan were killed. They were all together, a group that had been working together, and they had been having uplifting messages of loving their job, loving their country.
So, it's, I oscillate between sadness and anger, right? It's because it doesn't have to be this way.
Yes.
It didn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way right now. And this is something that, when you are led and governed by people who are weak and driven by hubris and pig-headed and not listening to what they need to listen to, or are in the throes of dementia, as is our president, bad things are going to happen. And we are in a place where those bad things are occurring in real time. And we're greeted with people who defend it for political purposes, defend the indefensible, excuse it, or distract from it. And let me just give you a bit of advice if you're a liberal, if you have an ounce of brain power and a sliver of credibility and humility. Just if you feel the urge to bring up Ron DeSantis or President Trump or anybody, don't. Just shut your mouth. Just shut your goddamn mouth and be quiet, because you are doing nobody any favors when you do that. I want to play for the audience at home. This is our president asleep at the helm. And let me, do this with the Zoom meeting. Real quick here. President Biden, earlier this week.
Yet another chapter in the beautiful story of the friendship between our two nations,
Asleep.
the United States of America and the Jewish and democratic state of Israel. Both of us who seek to do good and need to be strong. Both of us who are
doesn't move a muscle. Eyes closed, head down, staring at the floor. Or not even staring at the floor because his eyes were closed. That's who our president is right now. In a room with other people in it.
With the Prime Minister of Israel, an important Middle Eastern ally. I'd like to give a shout out to President Mitch, the account who created this video. What you're seeing right now is clearly concerning. I don't really give a fuck how many times Daniel Dale of CNN tries to fact check this. We have a very, very elderly president of the United States who can't hold his attention, looking at one of our most important Middle Eastern allies. It's great that Biden has support for Israel. We really, right now, they're going to actually really need that because the terrorist organizations that have been, I don't even know what to say, promoted and supported by the Biden administration in Afghanistan through their ties with now the Taliban and information sharing that they're doing. Israel's security is now severely in danger, and it's always going to be severely in danger because Hamas is on their back door all the time, but now they're really in danger. So thank you. I really want to make sure that we have the Iron Dome clearly funded from now on. But yeah, no, that video is very concerning that he can't pay attention for 30 seconds.
Liberals need to make a choice right now. I mean, like it's a very clear choice, and we talked about this on the last episode, Caitlin, of like what's worse, right? An incapacitated Biden or a fully cognizant Harris, and at this point, I'm not sure what the difference is, right? Or what would be worse? I don't know.
I know that the people behind Biden are as bad as a competent Kamala. So like what?
Yeah. Here's the problem here. We have 3 more years of this, right? We have 3 more years of this. And they can oust Joe through the 25th. They can make it happen. They're evil worm tongues of people that, if Ron Klain wanted to make it happen, it can make it happen. And probably politically, you could throw Biden under the bus as soon as Kamala took over, and then she'll get a relatively clean slate for her to screw up for the next 2.5 years. But either way, we're kind of fucked. And I mean that, a lot of bad things can happen with this kind of incompetence, and these are really, really incompetent people.
Well, we've seen the worst. We've seen really bad. I mean, like what happened this week, Jeff, when I woke up on Thursday and then saw the reports of that about around what time? About 9:15, 9:30. Yeah. I was horrified. And I was angry because the president of the United States refused to listen to even people who were experts and tried to tell him what was going to happen. And he still, we don't even know, Jeff, right? Like who's making the decisions, who's helping Biden. We do know that Biden now doesn't really trust the military brass, which is, he's the commander in chief. That's fine. But right now we have dead Marines, and it's in a bad state. It's in a really bad state.
And we're not getting any kind of, this is turned entirely cover your ass political. And the congressman here from Massachusetts, I'm going to play this clip. Very concerning of Jake Auchincloss earlier this week.
Who served in Afghanistan as a Marine. Congressman, first of all, your reaction to the Republican leader's comments today.
A lecture from the party of Donald Trump on prudence and foreign policy is hard to stomach. This is a party that stood by while the former president tried to sell his office to the Russians. And I am not going to.
Can we stop there? I mean, like, that is literally a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
That's conspiracy theory. We're not going from like he's making an important point. That is a fucking conspiracy theory, Jeff. A conspiracy theory.
There's no evidence to back that up. And,
right.
And
I bet all of those resist moms out in Brookline that voted for this shit literally are like, oh my God, like, he's so right. No. What are you doing? I mean, while we can get and compare him to Seth Moulton. While Seth Moulton went to Afghanistan, and yeah, the libs are mad at him for going, here's Jake Auchincloss on fucking MSNBC promoting conspiracy theories to pander to the idiot liberals that watch that show. I can't.
Well, it gets better.
Let's go.
Going to countenance a lecture or condescension from Leader McCarthy. This president took office and had the integrity to make a hard and wrenching decision. He told the American people the hard truth that we could not win a counterinsurgency without a political endgame. We knew that withdrawal from a country whose moniker is the graveyard of empires was going to be hard, but the military airlift...
I got to stop there again. Okay, because once again, Auchincloss, this, thank you for your service in Afghanistan, Jake.
Your service doesn't mean that you get to promote conspiracy theory on MSNBC as an elected member of Congress.
Or flat out lie about the realities that were going on right now. We had a force of 2,500 people providing air support to the Afghan army, had the Taliban at bay for a couple of years now. Things were stable.
I mean, he essentially is saying it in the nicest way possible that this was a political issue that Biden wanted to essentially check off a list. And he did that with the risk assessment of knowing that Americans were going to be left behind or killed. That is the issue that I'm having here, Jeff, is that Biden made a decision and had a risk assessment in his head, his old elderly head, with experts around him, and made the risk assessment that he knew Americans were either going to be left behind or killed. He made that decision.
He rushed that decision. He forced that decision too. Like this can't be neglected as much spin and bullshit as Auchincloss wants to.
And it wasn't a hard decision. It wasn't a hard fucking decision. He made it obtusely and didn't follow through on a plan to evacuate. He was. I have strong words. I don't know if I can entirely say them here.
We're not done yet. Yeah, we're not done yet. The young congressman goes further. So let me put that up.
Lift is one of the most sophisticated operations in modern history. We have gotten more than 100,000 people out of that country, and we are going to wind down this evacuation and hand Afghanistan over to the Afghans.
Yeah, I told you.
Hand it over to the Afghans.
Yeah.
Hand it over to the Afghans. So he just equated the Taliban with just a terrorist group with people who wanted, stability in the country.
Let me enlighten you to something, Congressman. Your service over there does not preclude you from criticism over your idiotic statements there and the bad policy and bad decision-making that you're spinning to protect right now. The idea that you'd get up in front of, an audience of probably tens of thousands on MSNBC instead of, say, millions, and say that we're going to turn Afghanistan over to the Afghans. Which Afghans? You spoiled little brat. Like, by the way, folks, if you don't know who Jake, what's that?
It's so hard. It's so hard watching him.
This fucking kid has had life handed to him on a silver platter. Okay, and I'm not discounting his service. Granted, good for you. But, oh boy, Google the Auchincloss family, and see where that family has intertwined over the past 150 years, and the kind of power they have wielded. All right, that's who won, and he used to be actually. I don't know if was he a Republican or did he just volunteer for Republicans? Like to go from, maybe
I think he was a Republican at one point, and then he switched because let's be real.
Go ahead.
In order to be elected in that district, you're going to need to be a Democrat. So he probably got these talking points straight from Nancy Pelosi herself. It is ridiculous to even say that this is the most successful evacuation. They're evacuating because they got bullied into doing it due to political pressure of the stability of cabal completely being demolished because of Biden's inability to create a plan for this.
I honestly wonder what the men and women who served with him think about his statements from there. Because you compare that to Seth Moulton, who I probably don't agree with a whole hell of a lot of what Seth Moulton did, but the fact that he went over to Afghanistan to figure out what's going on and get at least a firsthand account, kudos to him. I'm not going to knock him. He's actually criticized Joe Biden, and he was one of the first guys, even though he ran for president. He was one of the first guys who supported Joe Biden. He was actually, I mean, he's been a Democrat forever, Seth Moulton, but
Seth Moulton is my congressional representative. I live in Massachusetts 6. I actually, when I was back with hardcore Never Trump back in 2016, because Trump pissed me off, I voted for Seth Moulton in 2016. I clearly didn't do that in 2018 because of what was going on with the Democrats at the time. That truly scared me. I didn't vote for him in 2020 because I did not like the way that he handled COVID at all. This is him going to Afghanistan is not something to criticize him for. He thought that he was helping. He went over and solved the conditions. The thing is that Congress, and especially the House, has oversight over the executive branch. Okay. It is their job to be able to go over and investigate. If they want to do that and go over and see firsthand of what's going on and try to get people maybe in planes or anything, then that is their right to. And he did it. I mean, he had the balls to go over there with Representative Mayer of Michigan. I forgot what his congressional district in Michigan is off the top of my head, but they went over and they saw it. Okay. They saw Afghans desperate to want to get on planes to evacuate. Okay. These are people who don't have SIV visas. These are people that are not Americans. These are people fleeing, that people that would want to attach themselves to airplanes and fall off in order to escape the Taliban because they know what's coming. That's the problem. Once we leave, it's going to get worse. And, props to Seth Moulton for doing it. What I want to hear from him now is the his honest witness account.
And he was openly critical of what is going on, which is a rarity.
And he was objective, right?
Compare that, one former service member going over there being openly critical of what is going on the ground and how it's an absolute shit show, compared to Jake Auchincloss, who's running cover and lying and talking about conspiracy theories and we're going to hand Afghanistan over to the Afghans.
I mean, it's literally like a QAnon conspiracy theory. Yeah. He spread on MSNBC to shill to these viewers and then went over and ran cover for Joe Biden's deplorable withdrawal. I mean, good God, how many times do we have to talk about how the fact that he bungled this, like on epic proportions, okay? The Brits are mad at us. We are leaving Americans behind. They are bombing the crap out of the airport. The security is awful. We just ceded Kabul to the Taliban. The Taliban literally offered the United States the ability to keep the security of Kabul, and we said
that was in the Washington Post today. By the way, a little side note: Noah Rothman over at Commentary Magazine, who has been on top of this and provided great insight and great analysis. So I just want to, if you're not following Noah Rothman on Twitter, do so. He's been fantastic on all of this, and Auchincloss, I don't know where this is coming from. This guy's he's been nowhere for forever, and now he's going to come out at this point in time. And you look at for whatever you want to say about Seth Moulton, I mean, it takes some set of balls to go against the grain of your party. You even compare that to, say, Kinzinger, who you can't stand, who I can't stand, from Ohio. Is he from Ohio?
No, he's from Illinois.
Illinois, who's an act. I mean, this is the RINO podcast, right? Joke, get it? But he is a complete Democrat who got elected as a Republican and is in no way, shape, or form
tried to push gun control, guys. Come on.
So
I mean, God, and he couldn't even have the balls to really stand up for a nuclear power plant they're shutting down in his district. He gives out these measly little statements on it, and he can't even defend his own constituents. I'm glad that Illinois Democrats are writing they are, because they're Illinois Democrats and they're corrupt. They're gerrymandering his district out.
Yeah.
Good for
but
your work, Adam Kinzinger. I cannot stand you.
This statement from Auchincloss, though, it
is really the worst. It's pandering. Yeah. It makes me think of him as a complete idiot. I mean, I didn't like him before because I feel like people had this opinion of him as this new kind of rich white guy savior bullcrap. I don't really buy into that at all.
He's pretty. He's a pretty boy.
Is he? I mean,
look, he's well put together and, nice hair and good, good pedigree and all that good stuff. But look, he has that Harvard bro way of speaking, that kind of a bit of just this fake deep voice, and like Beto used to talk like this, and like the guy local who's running for like a state auditor, Chris Dempsey, talks like this, and they talk like this, and say, well, we're going to hand Afghanistan back to the Afghans, and they just very Davos, uber liberal, sophisticant.
All of Afghanistan with the Taliban. Like, they're not all in the Taliban. The people they're murdering people, and you're saying that they're giving them back. I can't. No, I don't like Auchincloss at all. I never got a good vibe from him. I always thought he was kind of a rat. So I guess you are.
Yeah. Moving on. This week, little side note, the mayor of Washington, D.C., I'm going to cue this up for everybody. This is funny, and funny not in a ha-ha way. Mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser,
was distributing much-needed funds. It shortchanged the District of Columbia $750 million because we do not have 2 senators to vote and to fight for us. So we are standing here not begging, but demanding what is our birthright, and that is statehood for Washington, D.C.
Okay, so let's go over the objective definition of birthright. A particular right, possession, or privilege one has from birth, especially as an eldest child. Statehood is not a birthright if you are born within the territory of the United States. DC is a federal district, and the reason why it's a federal district is because the District of Columbia was created to house our federal government. The founders and also statesmen later thought it would be inappropriate for our federal government to be a state, because it would be against.
No, but it not even inappropriate, but it would be work at cross purposes. If the people living there, like, it was set up specifically, like, so not does she completely get bungle the concept of a birthright. It's the opposite. DC was set up to never be a state. I don't know. Look up what the antonym of birthright is. I don't know. Death right? Whatever. It's like it is supposed to be a federal city that is never supposed to become a state. It is the antithesis of a birthright being the state. I mean, and astoundingly dumb.
Okay. There have been policy proposals to retrocede the suburbs of DC into Maryland. They don't want that. Okay. Why would Democrats want that, right? Not want that, right? I mean, Maryland's 2 senators are solid D anyway. They want the plus 2 senators of a supposed state of Washington, D.C. So it is a political fight. It is not a moral right. Let's be perfectly honest here.
You look at even Ed Markey said it. A few months ago when he was talking about it, it's unbelievable. They're like, well, we need to make Puerto Rico a state and DC a state so we can get 2 more senators, 2 more Democratic senators.
Well, did you notice?
I was like, wait a minute. Like, Markey's an idiot. So he's not supposed to say the quiet part out loud. He's supposed to say we want 2 more cities or 2 more senators for Democratic representation and a voice in the Senate and all that kind of horseshit.
Well, have you that they've kind of quieted down on Puerto Rico statehood because the Republicans had such good Latino turnout in the last election? That is the reason. Let's be perfectly honest here. You're not pushing Puerto Rico statehood because, the Hispanics have started voting for Republicans. Maybe if you weren't shilling to socialism all the time, they wouldn't be. So there you go.
All these little fever dreams the progressives have, they really should just take a step back and a breath, take a beat, and they don't work out very well. The filibuster, getting rid of the judicial filibuster, was the worst thing Harry Reid ever did. Mitch McConnell warned him ahead of time, said, you're going to regret this, and probably not too far in the distant future, or not too far in the future. He said that, and what do you get? You get President Trump and Mitch McConnell approving judges at an astronomical rate.
Which I think is really funny because, like, when people like complain about that, my opinion is always the same. FYI, Chuck Schumer allows this.
Yeah, you're gonna get
because he has to sign off on that, right? Like, he has to sign off on those judges being placed because in order for that to happen, I mean, he gets steamrolled. Like, he's saying yes.
I encourage you. Let's go back. Get rid of the legislative filibuster.
Yeah.
You want to get rid of you want popular vote? You're going to get a lot more Californians and New Yorkers voting that don't vote the way that you like. You're going to get a lot more people in Massachusetts showing up to the polls. Okay, all right, my vote counts. Fine. You want to have it? You think all these things, you're so smart, and all these archaic institutions that are anti-democratic. That what's that dipshit's name over at Vox that always talks about who? Which one?
Dr. Vox. That's
no. There's a guy, I forget his name anyway, but he's always talking about how he can't stand the Senate because the Senate's an anti-democratic institution.
Is that the guy that always puts out like the hardcore anti-July 4th opinions?
Well, there's a few, and there's so many to pick from. But no, it's somebody specific. He was in a Democratic administration. Anyway, like all these little fever dreams they think that are making our country more democratic, small d democratic, when they really just want it more capital D democratic. They're not going to work out. It's not going to work out how you think, guys. So be forewarned. Just work on not being insane, and you might win some more elections. Anyway, on to. What's that?
They can't help themselves. All they have to do is not be insane, right?
Yeah, all they have to do is not be insane.
But they can't do it.
Do you understand how bad they would kick our asses if they just weren't crazy, if they ran a moderate Democratic candidate across the board, president, senator, you guys would annihilate us. But your base and your progressive instincts are so insane that
they try to run national campaigns all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they did in Kentucky. Look how bad Amy McGrath lost. Holy crap, that was a kick-ass.
But it's I'm not complaining, but they could absolutely wipe the floor with us if they just weren't nuts.
Look at the 1990s, right? Like the Democratic Party and the Republican Party were mostly centrist, right? There was not like huge difference between them, and Dems were electorally stronger. I mean, now they're not as electorally strong as they think they are because they keep thinking that the United States is more socially liberal than it actually is. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we're pretty socially liberal here. Like, we do have gay marriage. Women have the right to vote, can work outside the house, all that jazz. But at the same time, they still lose because they promote crap like diet justice or like,
critical race theory, defund the police.
Yeah.
I mean, laughably bad issues. Yeah. All right. Next up, on Friday, 2 days ago, Mayor Kim Janey, acting mayor of Boston, I believe it is, acting mayor of Boston, instituted a mask mandate for the city of Boston. And I want to point this out. I'm going to reread it. So she was spotted. Kudos to Turtle Boy Sports, Aiden Kearney over there, for breaking the story, and was given credit on a bunch of outlets. So we're not breaking anything here, but I'm going to read this for the audience. This is Sean Philip Cotter, who's a Boston Herald city reporter. It actually got to the Herald, still not the Globe, still not other places. I asked acting mayor Kim Janey if it was a bad look to be shown posing in a photo maskless at a restaurant just about half a day after the city's mask mandate began. She didn't address the photo and said, "We all have to continue to wear our masks. I wear my mask even outdoors," unquote. Quote, "When you're drinking and eating, you can take it off," she continued. I asked about how she wasn't seated at a table in the photo, to which she responded by thanking me and leaving. Head on over to the Boston's Herald.com to check out more of Sean Philip Cotter and his reporting. And then he follows up, Janey's office just sent me another statement about the photo. I always wear my mask indoors. Well, you don't always wear your mask indoors. I removed it inside the restaurant yesterday to eat and drink and put it right back on after taking the photo. We should all mask up indoors and do our part to keep Boston safe. Okay. This is
so silly. Just say that you made a mistake and move forward. Good luck. God, the PR machine's probably going to get over you in about a day anyway. Why lie?
Yeah.
I don't.
They like, because Caitlin, they think rules for thee and none for me. They don't give a shit.
Right.
Well, one, the mask thing is all theater. She doesn't believe in masks. She's just doing it because she's being forced politically by a bunch of neurotic liberals who are in her ear to shut it up. The masks don't do with anything to begin with anyway, and I mean that. Quote me on that. No, not that my adversaries care, but again, this is Pelosi was at a packed fundraiser where it was a bunch of white people, 100 or so white people, with minorities serving them in masks. Not a single person seated at those at the tables dining with Nancy Pelosi was in a mask, and Nancy Pelosi didn't have a mask itself. It is rules for the servants. It is rules for the people, but they get to break the rules. That
Nancy Pelosi video was like even worse, Jeff. Like, it was all like minority waitresses with a bunch of old white people sitting at a table. Honestly, I was so flabbergasted watching it. I was like, this is the most tone deaf thing that I have seen in almost a year since the refrigerator.
It's not tone deaf. It's not tone deaf. They hate you. They hate you. They know that they don't have to. They know that this mask stuff is theater, but they don't care. They just do it anyway so they can tell you what to do. So they can pretend like they're doing something important because you see the mask on other people's faces, and you can force a person to, in real time, in the moment, be a petty little bully. These little bureaucrats who have no power. They don't care about the hypocrisy. They don't care about any of it. They don't care about the science. They don't care about a thing except making you do what they want to do and keeping power and taking that power to force you to do something. This is what it's about. They like doing it. And then they go home and then they don't wear a mask. They don't wear the mask in the car. They don't wear the mask in their house. They don't wear their mask while taking a photo the day the order happens. Keep in mind, she announced the order, Mayor Janey, announced the order a full week ahead of time. The previous Friday, it took place this past Friday, the 27th. She announced it on the 20th. As if COVID sort of is listening and go, oh, okay, we're an invisible disease and you get a full week off before anything takes effect. This is insane. If you're going to announce a mandate, you do it immediately, okay? And these limousine liberal towns are doing the same thing. These poor shopkeepers and the people that work there have to be masked up. And now the obedient little sheep are walking in there. The blue-haired liberals are doing the same thing, and they obey. Don't obey. Don't obey. Don't wear your mask. Take it off. These people do not care about you. They are just doing it to boss you around. Get vaccinated. Vaccinations work.
Yeah. So I get my nails done in the city of Winchester, or town of Winchester, all the way over there from Salem, and their mask mandate went into effect I think the week before. No one was wearing a mask. What the fuck? And if they were wearing it wrong. Like
yeah, and you're forcing people at this point, like who work there, to be the police of this thing, and you're forcing other people to rat people out. And by the way, I'm walking into all of these places without a mask, and I'm waiting for somebody to challenge me. Which, I want to provoke the situation. I'm not doing it like a dick, but I'm just I'm walking in there and I'm not putting on a mask. The restaurant, I'm not putting on a mask. I'm not walking with a mask from the entranceway to my table and then taking off the mask. Why? There's no reason why. I'm not walking in through the door to pick up my coffee with a mask and then taking it off to take a sip before. No, this is theater. Can we stop this? Can we stop this? Normal people have to be willing to not be afraid of telling other people that their feelings are meaningless in this situation and that science has to win out. Get vaccinated. Get vaccinated. I've actually, you blew up the internet this week with telling the renters that the rent is due, motherfuckers, and rightfully so. But we covered that on the Patreon. Patreon.com/RINOpod. Only $1 a month. Go tune in over there. But you blew up the internet with that tweet, getting a lot of feedback and flack. And I got flack replying to Patrick McEnroe, John McEnroe's brother, for about the U.S. Open requiring vaccine cards and vaccine proof to walk in through the door. And I said, that's insane. And people were like, people were honestly replying back to me. This is how stupid liberals are. If an unvaccinated person is putting lives at risk of those around them, especially the vaccinated. I was like, what? Like, you're vaccinated. You have the vaccine. You're immune from this. You are literally protected from this. If you are around an unvaccinated person, okay, you are not at risk from that unvaccinated person. That unvaccinated person is at risk from other unvaccinated people, but not the other way. You got vaccinated to be immune. You're okay. Act like it. Act like it. Stop it with the masks. This is not going to end, Caitlin. This will not end until people start standing up and going, no. These petty little bureaucrats are going to keep this going as long as they can.
Yeah, no, I agree, Jeff. The only thing that I think is funny is that you remember in the winter where they said that you needed to wear 2 masks? Well, they're not wearing 2 masks anymore, are they?
Yeah.
So that pretty much proves that it's pretty much theater.
Yeah, we were all masked up throughout 2020. Everybody was across the country. Even in Texas, the mandates were there. Cases went up. Cases went down. It did.
It's so interesting watching all of this data come in. I mean, it's just right now in Oregon, COVID cases are like going sky high. They have hardcore mask mandates and it's still going up. So get vaccinated, take care of yourself, guys. You need to stay healthy and just keep living your life.
Yeah. Lose weight, get healthy.
Stop smoking. Yes.
Yeah. But that this overweight people, and I've been overweight before too, not by much, but like enough. Be healthier. Do the right things that just basic common sense. Wash your hands. Don't pick your nose after grabbing a doorknob. Like just normal stuff. Yeah. And in reality we're on the other side of this, but people want permanent pandemic. They got a taste of authority. They got a taste of bossing people around, and people who are normal have to push back. So once again, kudos to Turtle Boy for getting that story out to the public. Kudos to those outlets who reported on it. Shame on you if you didn't, for political reasons, and there's a lot of people that didn't. Shame on the Boston media for not challenging Jake Auchincloss on his insane promotion of conspiracy theories. Just across the board, I love it. Beat the Press is now gone. Next up, I don't know, who should we take on next? Jim Browdy and his $500,000 a year salary.
Probably,
yeah. Let's get rid of Boston Radio. I want to take them on one by one and just decimate them because they're unserious and they don't belong anywhere near influence or our government. Vote Republican, folks. All right. Anything else, Caitlin, as we wrap this one up?
One more. So again, thank you if you serve in the military, keeping us safe. I'd like to send out some prayers to the state of Louisiana right now, especially the city of New Orleans, because there is a very severe hurricane. Hurricane Ida is about to hit. We're thinking about you. Please make sure that you're safe. I have family still in Louisiana. So again, take every precaution, keep yourself safe, and we're all praying for you.
Absolutely. Stay safe out there, everybody. And you stay safe out there as well, audience. Don't Don't forget to sign up for the Patreon for more content if you'd like. And I guess we will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.